program are those of the speakers and the host and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Tuesday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands. Who knows? It's a Tuesday. Thank you so much for tuning in today to Running Point, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you, and we try to do the same here on this show and on YSN every single day. We thank them for their constant support of not just this show, but everything we do at YSN. Make sure to go out and check out Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Follow them on social media too. I mean, especially one of their sales reps, Kevin Lawson, does a fantastic job at content creation on their social media pages. I went to school with him in the TCOM department, which I think is the best department. So he learned from the best, and he's a great content creator. And he's also a great salesman at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. So shout out to him. Shout out to Greenwood for sponsoring today's show and every show that we do. And once again, thank you for them for their constant support of everything we do here on the network. We got some games to recap. It was a slower Monday than normal with the girls' basketball regular season almost over and tournament time being begun. But there were some makeup games and some final scores we have to get a hold of. So we will start with Liberty. They had to make up a game against Camel to finish out their slate inside the MVAC on the girls' side. It was a 70-22 win for Liberty. East took down North. The Compass points East. Always East. The sun rises in the East for a reason. 73-19. They got the win, and that'll do it for that recap because I am officially out of East puns. We'll go into the next one. Jackson Milton Boys got the win over United, 69-55, a big win for the Blue Jays. Those birds are historically known for kicking other birds out of their nest, and that's what they did to United. This one was very surprising. The last time Pymatuning Valley and Badger played, it was very close. Pie Valley won in the last seconds. This time though, the Lakers and the NAC champions, they flexed their muscles a little bit. 83-57, they beat Badger. Duncan Moy still had 30 points for the Braves, but Pie Valley just way too strong last night. One of those nights where things don't go your way against a good team and the score can get really lopsided. I don't think it takes away anything from Badger. I don't think it says anything about Badger. I don't think it's like, oh, Badger got exposed. No, it's just sometimes, especially in high school sports, you have a night like that where you're cold and you're playing a really good team and they're not. So I think that's what happened last night. And we'll be good to go. 83-57, the Lakers beat the Braves. Ursuline got the sweep of the Holy War on the boys' side last night, 63-32, excuse me. They beat Cardinal Mooney pretty handedly on the road this time as well. So those were your scores from last night, the scores that came in. Like I said, it was a slower night on the network, but we still had some games to get done up, some makeup games. I know Jackson Milton United was a makeup game. So was Pie Valley. I believe all these games were makeup games, to be honest with you. But now we can officially say, I believe, that the girls' basketball regular season is done. Boys' regular season in the last week of it. Tonight's there are a lot of big games as far as trying to finish up some of these conferences. There are still some conferences that are up in the air a little bit, up for grabs, especially the NE8. We're going to talk about all that a little bit later, as far as what games are going on tonight and how much of an impact they'll have in the standings. That'll be at the end of the show with our preview of the night, like we always do. Also, today we have an interview with Archbishop Hoban Sr. Emma Rasmussen. You're going to be able to hear that. It's fresh out of the oven. It just went up on the site about a half an hour ago, and we're going to play it for you on this show as well. A great conversation with one of three of their senior leaders, and I can't wait for you guys to hear that as well. I was really impressed with her this year because you look at Hoban, and I know they're new to YSN, so I'm just trying to use I follow them. They're a girls basketball team. You know how much I like girls sports, so I follow them throughout the years. And obviously, they were at the South Range Holiday Hoops Classic a couple of years in a row before this season. And so we got a chance to get a taste of Hoban and what they were about. In the last couple of years, they had superstar seniors. I mean, Lene Riley last year took them to an undefeated regular season, district champions. 2 years ago, they went to the Final Four in Dayton. This year, though, they graduated a lot of those seniors. And they graduated a lot of those leaders that were leading the Knights. So it was really impressive to see these three seniors step up into a really much bigger leadership role than they had been yet their whole career. And to be able to take that standard of Hoban basketball and still meet it. Wasn't a perfect season this year. They haven't looked, perfect every time on the floor. They're a young team. They make young mistakes, but they're still the 6th seed in Division One, and they still got 12 regular season wins and won their first round tournament game. They will play again on Thursday to try to advance to the district semifinals. But you look at the team, and it's like, I've talked about it before. Seniors that leave have to leave their footprints, have to leave their handprints behind. So seniors that are coming up know how to lead the team as well. And I think Hoban's seniors of the past did a great job with that. And then their seniors that are here now, the current seniors, did a really good job of sponging that information, taking in everything that the leaders were giving them, never kind of pushing back and saying, well, I'm scoring, I don't need to hear from you. In a really talented team, and Hoban is always really talented, especially young talented teams. Sometimes inevitably you're going to get those players to push back against leadership. They're going to say, well, I'm talented, I can score, I don't need, to hear what you have to say about this kind of stuff. But these seniors for Hoban never fell into that trap, thankfully for them and thankfully for this team. And you can tell by the way they lead this squad that they were just kind of biding their time. They were taking in everything that the leaders of the past were giving them, and they took it on the run. And here they are fighting for a chance into the district semifinals. If they win the district this year, that senior class would have won a district championship every single year of their high school career. They're going to try to do that as the 6th seed. They have the 3 and the 4 in their bracket, so it would be an upset numbers wise if they were able to win it this year. But I don't think anytime the 3-time reigning district champions win a district championship, I don't think many people could call it an upset. So we'll see how that goes. But that interview is going to be in a little bit as well. We'll play that. Before we do, we got some breaking news out from YSU. We at YSN are proud to announce that we have officially completed our partnership with YSU Baseball for the 5th straight season. I want to read some things from their news release for you guys. YSU YSN, not YSU. That's going to be really hard for me. YSN will stream all 20 of the Penguins' scheduled home games at Eastwood Field and select road events, including the Penguins' opening season series this weekend against Illinois and Wake Forest down in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, at the home of the Demon Deacons. It'll be audio streams with Youngstown State Baseball, and YSU grad and our very own Richie Giuliano will be on the call for these games in 2023. Richie is very familiar with YSU athletics. He was previously served as a play-by-play announcer for YSU women's basketball, YSU volleyball, where I worked with him for those YSU volleyball broadcasts. So he's definitely familiar with YSU athletics as not just a YSU grad, but also been on the mic for YSU sports as well. This is what DJ had to say in the news release. DJ Oakley, our CEO. Our continued partnership with Youngstown State and the baseball program represents the very fabric of our being at YSN. We are proud of what Coach Bertolini has and his staff has built and continue to promote in building great athletes and even better men. The 2019 season was the first one that we began streaming with YSU baseball. This is what Coach Bertolini had to say. We are excited to partner with YSN for another great year. The support from DJ and the whole staff at YSN has been unbelievable, and we're proud to be a part of the YSN family. Once again, YSU opens the season Friday, February 17th in a neutral site contest against Illinois. That'll be in Wake Forest. They're in this Wake Forest tri-tournament, I guess you could call it, where they'll play twice against Illinois over the weekend, twice against the Demon Deacons. By the way, Wake Forest is ranked number 6 in the country. So that should be a real fun opening weekend for YSU as they test themselves. Every year it seems like YSU is testing themselves against some of the country's best teams. And that's no different this year. If you look at YSU baseball schedule, since we're talking about us being the partners again for YSU baseball broadcasts, this is a really exciting baseball schedule. Not only do they have their Horizon League, opponents, which we're all familiar with, they open the season with 2 Power 5 opponents in Illinois and Wake Forest. And then 12 of their first 17 games are against Power 5 teams, including Baylor, like I said, Wake Forest, Illinois, and then they'll also have Kansas State and Pitt in their first 12 games as well, mixed in with Kansas State and Memphis in there too. But then you look at that, and then down the road they play Pitt and they play Penn State. So they have 14 Power 5 teams on their schedule this year, including their very tough Horizon League slate, which will open at home on March 17th. And that will be against Oakland, which is actually their first Horizon League games as well. So they open the Horizon League season at home March 17th versus the Golden Grizzlies of Oakland. We're very excited for YSU baseball, and I know Richie Giuliano is excited to take the trip down to Wake Forest this weekend to see the Penguins take on the Demon Deacons. Oh, it's a Twitch bot. I hate when Twitch bots comment on our thing. Stay away from us. We don't care about your promotion to get followers on Twitch. Sorry. But that being said, back to our regularly scheduled conversation before we were so rudely interrupted by robots from Twitch. Very excited about YSU baseball. They open the Horizon League against Oakland on March 17th. You look at their whole schedule. They also their home Horizon League games will be Purdue Fort Wayne. They'll host Northern Kentucky. Then they'll be at Wright State. They'll be back at Oakland. They'll host Milwaukee, and they'll come back and end the season by hosting Wright State. So you end the season by hosting the league favorite and the predominant league powerhouse for the last several years. That should be fun as well to kind of depending on where the Penguins are at that point, that could be a very, very important series for both teams down the stretch. So that should be fun. We are once again excited to be a part of YSU baseball for another season. Richie Giuliano making the trip with them down to Wake Forest this weekend, and you can catch all those audio streams on ysnlive.com/live. First game Friday at noon against Illinois. That being said, we're going to roll right into our interview section of the show. It is Emma Rasmussen, the senior from Archbishop Hoban. Anthony Hartwig here with our first ever Archbishop Hoban player profile on the girls basketball team. I am joined by one of their 3 amazing seniors, Emma Rasmussen. Emma, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you.
This is cool because this is not your first time on YSN. You made your debut a couple of years ago as player of the game, and Hoban fans can find you in our YouTube log. But so that leads us to our first question. How have you developed over the years? I mean, we saw you your sophomore year at South Range in that tournament, putting up numbers, and now here you are, your senior year, still doing the same thing. How do you think you've developed over your career here on in Hoban?
I've definitely developed as a player. I mean, I've grown in so many ways. Coaches, trainers, my strength and weight coaches at Hoban. I mean, they've all impacted me in so many ways to make the player I am today. I mean, there's so many thank yous and so much love to go out to them because they've really, really shaped me to be the player and person I am today.
When you reflect back on your career and especially those early days at Hoban, what do you think are some of the biggest differences between your game then and what you bring to the table now?
Definitely my you're good. You're all good. Definitely my offense and defense perspective. Coach Willie and Coach Pam have done a great job having my knowledge on basketball and knowing like terms that like college coaches will use to bring into the high school level. So it's really nice to have like that vocabulary, and them coaching for over like 30 years is just incredible, and like having their knowledge on the game, it really helps.
Obviously, you've developed a lot as a basketball player, but also as a leader. You know, you're a senior leader this year. You're one of three. How do you think you've grown as a leader on this team and confidence in yourself to be able to lead the team off the court?
Well, I learned from the best. I mean, as a junior captain last year, I've kind of grown this year into being a role kind of how Lene and Gracie was from last year's team. I really like stepped in since we have a really young team. Like these girls need to grow with themselves and with the program. So having a young team and coaching them of how I was my freshman year is really cool to see. And to be honest, I just want to be a role model to those girls, thinking like, hey, like I just want to be like her, guiding these girls their freshman year all the way up to their senior year. Like being a leader has just taught me like who I am and like what I can do to change people or just to help people adapt to themselves and just learn about themselves.
How much did being a junior captain last year prepare you for the extra responsibilities that you would have this year as a senior leader and another captain again?
Um, I'd say just learning from Gracie and Lene. I mean, we went on an undefeated regular season. So they really taught me just to like be patient. There's going to be ups and downs, but you got to come together as a team and work together as a team. Like, yes, we'll have disagreements or something like that, but at the end, it's just us and our team, and we just have to come as one. So.
What do you think is the biggest thing you took away from those two seniors that you're talking about from last year? And what do you think is the biggest aspect of your leadership qualities that you took out of watching them lead?
Honestly, how they talk to the other teammates, how like they really took the time. If someone didn't understand something, they really took the time. Like, hey, here's how it is, or just maybe taking it to another side, like kind of pushing each other in a way, like um, how it's like more strict and just like being like, hey, like I really need to step up. Like, hey, like it's like I need to stop making these mistakes. Like just taking those like point of views of how like the moments you need to change how you are saying someone so they can understand what you want them to do or how they should do it to make you be like the best team that you are, and that comes with people playing their roles, and that's a huge factor in basketball.
We're obviously brand new to this Hoban girls basketball team with our first season covering them. So take us inside the locker room and what the personality of this team is like and how you would describe some of the personality aspects that this team has.
Our team is one of a kind for sure. Very young. The girls are very fun. Still learning, but they have bright minds and very fun personalities. I love this team so much, but we do have some things to keep learning as we come into the playoffs. I think we know who we are, but we're still trying to find it. But at the end, we do work hard every day in practice, trying to get better every day. And I'm just happy with where this team has gone, and I'm excited for playoffs with this team.
Yeah, you said it. It's a young roster, but you're one of the players that can look back on some of the tournament success of the past that this team has had. How much is that going to help you in this team, the experience that you guys have had in the past when you start to get ready for tournament time on Saturday?
We do have a bunch of veterans on the team, the juniors and seniors. I mean, the seniors have won 3 in a row. The juniors have 2 in a row. So we're trying to keep on our legacy, defend our titles of district championships. So we do really need to lock in and focus when we come into these games, because I think people really underestimate our team, and I think we can bring a lot to the table when we come together as well.
I mean, when you see people underestimate you guys and you're three district championships in a row, I mean, does that give you guys a chip on your shoulder to almost go out and prove who you are and that you're still a factor in this district?
I think it does. It does kind of bring you like, oh, they did rank us this, or they do think low of us. Like, it does bring kind of a chip on our shoulder. So it's just us like saying like, hey, we need to lock up. We have to focus up and and play our style of basketball and our brand to win these games coming into our playoff games.
We also want to be introduced to the Hoban community because, we've been to a couple of games now already and we see how much the crowd supports you guys, how much of a crowd you guys draw. What's that like knowing that the entire community of Hoban, and whether it be the alumni, the students, or just the fans, really support you guys and really show up for your games?
I really love Hoban. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better school to be at. The community is literally insane. Alum to future Knights come to support you, and it's just so fun to watch. I mean, we have little girls who want to play Hoban basketball that come to our games, and even like write us letters or send us text messages after game telling how much we inspire them. And then just the Hoban fans and even the teachers after, like during school, like, oh, how's your game, or like congrats on the win, and just are all supportive. And honestly, our team wouldn't um, be here without our Hoban community.
When talking about the future of Hoban, you just pointed out that you have text messages and letters from girls that want to be a part of this Hoban program in the future. We have a lot of successful athletes that kind of know their role models, but they don't get the tangible evidence. They don't get the people writing them letters. They don't get the people asking for autographs or whatever it may be. What's it like having the reality in your face for this program that you guys are role models to players and that you do have, the future of Hoban looking at you every time you step on the floor?
It's pretty heartfelt. It's really inspiring because how we play can like inspire or change of the perspective of how they're gonna play. I know the kids that I babysit, their mom was like, "Oh, what'd you learn from Emma's game?" And they'd be like, "I learned defense. I learned sportsmanship." Like the things that you hear from parents, like that their kids are telling them, is very, very awesome, and it always puts a smile on your face.
When we talked to Coach a little bit ago in her first episode of Coach's Corner, she took out the community impact that you guys do have and the way you're able to go out in the community every year and be a part of giving back to the community. From your perspective, what does that do not just for this team and bonding with your teammates, but also kind of showing yourself to the community and the character of this program to them?
I think it really shows what Hoban girls basketball program is. I think it shows like we want to give back to those who are in need, or do something that will put a smile on someone's face, or just be like, just be, just bring some kindness in the world. I mean, giving back is huge, and when you talk about my life, like I always give back to those, I always do service, and that's really big for me. So being able to do it with teammates by my side and just as one is very very exciting.
And we've talked about it. This team draws a lot of attention. A lot of girls want to play for this team, which means that you get a lot of players from different walks of life and different perspectives. What's that done for you as a person to get to know all these players that come from different backgrounds, different walks of life, different ideas of thinking things, and you've all been able to come together? How has that helped you? Do you think as you prepare for your future?
It's just meeting new people and just getting to know them. I mean, you look back at your high school days and you look back of all the people that you played with or played against, and it's really, really cool to be like, hey, I remember her, or like, she was so good, or like, played really good defense. And so playing with these girls that come in brings so much talent and are just one of a kind players that have their special gifts, and it's just cool to be part of that, or just be a part of them that you got to play with.
You had your signing day not too long ago. For anyone that was under a rock and didn't see your signing day, why don't you tell everyone what decision you made regarding your future career?
I am going to the College of Marietta College, to play with Pios. So I'm really excited, um, and I'm just excited for the next 4 years with them.
When you went through your recruiting process, and I'm sure there were other colleges to choose from, what made Marietta the college that you wanted to fall on and the college that you wanted to call home?
Definitely the coaching aspect and the team atmosphere. Coach Vivian was very welcoming, and when I went on my visit, I got to see like what their program was all about and their preparation for the season, or their traditions and their film, like all that. It just really spoke to me. I mean, it's everything that I looked for, and I wanted to play the style of Hoban basketball, and it was really similar to that. So honestly, the coaching staff, the team play was huge for me.
How much did your high school coaching staff and the 35 years of experience they have kind of help you know exactly what coach you want to look for in college?
Honestly, the Coach Pam and Coach Willie have taught me so much. They've been my best friend or my biggest critic. Everything that they've done, pushing me to be the best player I am. I mean, I could have done it without them. I mean, all the times they've gone over plays or talked to me personally of what I need to work on, truly shaped the way that I want to pursue my college career and how I want to move on.
When you think about your future, we talked about the basketball aspect. What about the education aspect and what career you see yourself going into?
Can you say that again? Sorry.
Yeah, we've talked about your basketball future. What about your career future and what you want to major in and some things you want to learn about in college to further your professional career after basketball?
Yes. So I am majoring in graphic designs. I kind of fell in love with it, with like the sports edits and just doing stuff for Hoban, and doing classes. So I am majoring in that, and then I'll be minoring in leadership that Marietta offers, and then maybe minoring in marketing, and just taking upon those minors and my major definitely helps me with my social aspect of meeting new people and getting to know them, and kind of being inspired by those people that I work with.
All right, I want to get to know you a little bit off the court before we let you go. What are some of your interests outside of basketball? Some things that you do hobbies wise or things you do in your downtime?
Um, well, in the fall, I do play soccer for Hoban. I love playing with my teammates. It's a different style of a sport compared, use your feet more, but that's something I do. I love volunteering in the community, and then just hanging out with my friends and supporting Hoban and what's going on with the events.
You get a lot of student support at your games. What's your favorite sport to be a part of the student section for at Hoban?
I would have to say football. The atmosphere is crazy. The student section's crazy. The themes that we go to, the chants that we cheer, it's just insane the amount of people that come to our games when we play these big games against St. V or Walsh or Eds. It's just insane how alum or just people outside of Hoban just come to support what Hoban football is all about.
What's been your favorite student section theme that you guys have had?
I would have to say Western theme.
All right, now the question is, if you could come up with the next theme, like the theme that you guys haven't done yet, maybe you get it out for a girls' basketball student section. What theme do you think would be cool to see?
That's a hard one. I'm like big on solid colors because I like everyone looking the same. So I probably do. It's not an original, but I do like the all navy or like an all white theme.
What is your favorite holiday to celebrate?
Definitely Christmas. I love hanging out with my family and friends and doing all the traditions that we always.
Do you have a least favorite holiday, one that you don't get too excited about?
I'm not a fan of New Year's. I don't know. Not a fan.
So we're never gonna catch you at Rockefeller Plaza celebrating the ball drop. What about if the government came to you and said, hey, we need a new holiday, we need something that needs to be celebrated? Can you think of anything that you would want a holiday for?
Holiday. That's a good question. I would say like a basketball day, like an all sports day where we like focus.
I like it.
Sport. I think that's something interesting.
Awesome. Well, before we let you go, I do want to give you the chance to shout out your support system, all the people that have been there for you. If you want to call them out, I want to give you the time to do that.
Well, I just like to thank my family, my mom and dad. They've gave me so many opportunities and drove me places. I mean, I couldn't have done like anything or got to where I am without them. My coaches, since I was third grade up to high school. Then I like to shout out to Maddie and Wink, who's just like helps me growth in my strength and my conditioning. And I just like to thank everyone who's out there who has been a part of my career in basketball.
All right, Emma, we thank you so much for taking the time to join us today out of your school day. We appreciate the time. We wish you the best of luck the rest of the way in your tournament run, and we hope to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you.
Emma Rasmussen, a senior leader of the Archbishop Hoban Knights, who are going to be playing on Thursday in the sectional championship against Cuyahoga Falls. It's a 6 seed Knights. 6 seed Knights against the 26 seeded Cuyahoga Falls Tigers, who are also the host of the Division III regional. So it's a Cuyahoga Falls gym that we're pretty familiar with. We've had a team in that regional for the last several years, so that'll be fun on Thursday. It'll be me and Ty on the call down in Akron for Hoban versus Cuyahoga Falls. Should be a fun one. Now, as we go into the rest of Hoban's interviews, we're going to have Riley Bennett on the show. I should say played on the show probably Thursday. We're going to have, hopefully we can get Kennedy Harrison in an interview as well before the end of their season, so we can get all their seniors highlighted at least. What a great group of leaders. I've said it before the interview. I'm going to say it again. They've taken a team that lost a lot, and probably people from the outside thought, oh, finally, Hoban's going to have a down year, and maybe on their standards, a quote-unquote down year, but they're still the 6th seed in Division I, and they still had a really good season. And they're still hoping to go 4-4 in district championships as a senior class. We are going to take a quick break on the show, and when we come back from this commercial break, we are going to preview the night that is and talk about the impact that some of these games tonight will have on standings in the conferences and everything else. So we will be right back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Locally owned and operated, Sheely's relaxed shopping experience means browsing and lounging is always encouraged.
Find Flex Deal and more at Sheely's Furniture and Appliance, because the best things in life happen at home.
How lucky are we to have not one, but two 18-hole Donald Ross Championship golf courses right here in our backyards. Mill Creek Golf Course was selected by Golf Week as one of America's 30 best municipal courses, continuing to challenge golfers of all levels and featuring golf instruction by PGA professionals, a state-of-the-art practice range, a PGA of America recognized pro shop, kids programs, and a relaxing grill room for a memorable golf experience. For more information or to schedule a tee time, visit millcreekmetroparks.org.
Fall is in the air. The kids are back to school, crowds are cheering for the home team, and Myers Family Insurance is prepped for another crazy Medicare season. Every year there's changes, some big, some small, so it's important to have a conversation to make sure your plan is going to meet your expectations for the coming year. Give our team a call today to schedule your annual review.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance or visit us on the web. Check us out online at MyersFamilyINS.com.
Going from mindful to mindful sometimes requires a helping, healing hand. Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness offers a continuum of mental health and wellness care. At Insight, we're changing the way you receive counseling and wellness services with experienced licensed clinicians and expertly trained wellness staff. With 4 locations in Mahoning and Columbiana County, along with telehealth services, Insight offers clients quick access to care when they need it. Transform your mental health and wellness at Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness.
Welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you, as always, by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. They go the extra mile for you, and we do the same here on this show and on YSN. We said we'd talk about the games that are going to happen tonight and where they would impact the standings the most, and I think the biggest one that is happening tonight is inside the NE8. We're going to have an NE8 championship game tonight between Jefferson and South Range. Jefferson is right now sitting 1 game ahead of Girard and South Range in the standings, but these are the only 2 teams that haven't completed their NE8 slate. This game is being made up. It's a makeup game, so both teams are the only ones with more NE8 games to play, which is this one. They both have 13. Everyone else has 14. Jefferson's 10-3 in the league. South Range is 9-4. So you do the math. If Jefferson wins, they're the outright NE8 champions. If South Range wins, then it's going to be a share of the title between the Raiders, the Falcons, and the Indians of Girard. So while Girard's playing in Springfield, they're going to be waving that Raider flag, hopefully, that they can get a win for Gerard, and Gerard can get a share of the championship. But obviously, Jefferson wants the first outright championship for the NE8 basketball in their program history. Struthers has been having a stranglehold of the NE8 for the last couple years, but this year it's Jefferson, it's Gerard, it's South Range. It would be South Range's first NE8 championship in basketball. I think it would be Jefferson's first outright championship in basketball. So a lot on the line. There are really good superstars on both teams. You talk about Jefferson. Joe DeGeorge is averaging more than 20 points per. He has, kind of led this team to the place where they're at. Remember, they beat Gerard. They split the season series with Gerard. They lost to them by 3, but the game that they won, Jefferson really just took it to them. They dominated the game that they beat Gerard. Joe DeGeorge was a big reason for it, but he's not the only one on the floor that is doing really good things. Obviously, Cavetta is there. He's doing great things. And then a guy that we heard a lot from during the football season, and Grant Hitchcock, he is on the floor facilitating the offense as well. He can score. I think he's averaging double figures. So Cavetta, Hitchcock, and DeGeorge all averaging double figures for the Falcons. They're hard to defend. South Range beat them down the wire. It was It was in that stretch of games where South Range was playing a tight game. It seemed like every night, and Jefferson was one of them. South Range was able to come out with a victory inside the Thriller Dome. You look at South Range's side, the key to their turnaround and the key to their success right now. One, Aiden Leone down the stretch has made a lot of good plays in the fourth quarter to win games. Dylan Turvey starting to come on. He started getting the double figures a couple of games in a row. They need his scoring, but then Luke Rowan's perimeter threat is also a big reason why they're succeeding. Luke Rowan went a stretch where he went 3 games and hit 17 threes in those 3 games in a week. So he definitely caught fire in that section of the schedule, and now he's sitting there still on fire. The last game he hit 3 of the last game I did, I should say, he hit 3 of them. So he's definitely a big perimeter threat. This Raider team of the past, they weren't the best outside shooters. They, when you were defending South Range in the last couple of years, it's been box in the paint, keep Leone out of there, keep the drivers like Landon Moore out of there who can catch the ball at the high post and drive from there. But it wasn't really, hey, defend the perimeter. Like, we got to keep the perimeter secure against South Range. And now it is, because Luke Rowan is a bona fide perimeter threat for the Raiders. So Jefferson's going to have to deal with that. Cavetta's their perimeter threat. So they both have players that can just kill you from the outside, any place on the floor. I'm excited for this one. Sam Torres is going to be on the call. He's our Attribula guy. He's going to be excited for it. And Jefferson, a lot on the line. A lot on the line for the Falcons. They're looking for their first NEA championship in their last year as members of the NEA. How special would that be? You're leaving the conference. We talked about this a lot in football when we talked to their players and Coach Hanna about how they wanted to leave an impact before they left the league, right? They wanted to kick the doors down and let people know that they belong there and they weren't running out of the league with their tail between their legs. And they did it in football. They had a great season in football. Definitely beat a couple of NE8 teams out of the playoffs. Finished with a winning record inside the NE8. I think they proved that they kind of could compete in that league. And now they're doing it in basketball with a chance to win it tonight. Actually, they've already clinched a share. They can't not share the league. So they are NE8 champions. We can say that. Boom. NE8 champions. But it's a little sweeter when you don't have to share the NE8 championship. So if they win tonight, they win it outright. What a special moment that would be for this basketball team to say that in the last year, the last season that they are in the conference, they made a statement. They went out and they won the conference. They could do that tonight with a win at home. It's a tough road trip. Every coach in the NE8 talks about how they don't like traveling to Jefferson. They come out flat. But every time I hear a coach say that, I'm thinking to myself, but Jefferson has to make that trip every time they go somewhere else too. So it's kind of an even playing field. But I always wonder why Jefferson is never the one that's flat when they're on the road. But everyone always says when we go to Jefferson, it's it's struggle to start fast. We come out flat. We come out like last daisical. When I'm searching for an answer to that question, the only thing that I can think of is that because Jefferson makes 7 trips that are that long, and it's really not that long compared to some of the other trips these teams make for non-conference games and things like that, especially in football. I mean, we saw a lot of football teams travel over an hour to go and play in the non-conference. So I don't think it's an incredibly long trip for most of these teams, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, 50, somewhere around there, but it's longer than your normal conference road trip. But I think for Jefferson, the reason why they're never, well, I shouldn't say they're never flat. It's not like they've played perfectly throughout the season. But the reason why I think they don't struggle as much on the road as teams do coming to them is you look at their whole conference slate, all 7 opponents of theirs are road trips. Like we have to get on the bus and travel 40, 45 minutes. So you kind of get used to that mindset of we have to travel that far on the bus every time we play a conference opponent on the road. But for everybody else, it's the one trip. It's just we're going to Jefferson. So it's harder to condition yourself to say, we're going to be ready for that road trip. We're going to be ready for that long bus ride because it's the only one in the conference you take of the whole season. And in basketball, there aren't a lot of teams that travel that far for a non-conference game either because most of their games, except for the boys on Friday, are on a weeknight. So it's not like you're going to be traveling an hour away on a Tuesday. Even on Friday nights, I mean, you don't see a lot of teams go from our area to go play in Akron or Massillon on a Friday night. It doesn't happen too often. It happens. It's there, but you don't see it as much as in football. I felt like in football there were so many teams that were taking trips in the first 3 weeks of the season to test themselves in the non-conference. Definitely not as much of a factor in basketball. Maybe that's because there's a lot of good basketball in the area. There's a lot of good tests to be had just with playing area teams. I don't know exactly. Obviously, with football, you only have 10 games as well, so you really want to get outside of your area a little bit. That's a whole conversation on football scheduling versus basketball scheduling that we don't have the time for, and actually I don't have the expertise for either. I don't schedule these things. So to be honest, if I had that conversation with myself, just talking to this empty room I'm staring at, there's a Pete the Penguin right there. I'm talking to him. If I was just having this conversation with myself and about scheduling and the difference between scheduling football and basketball, I'd be talking on my butt probably. With that being said, let's get to the rest of the games that are going to be on the network tonight. A lot of interesting non-conference games to go along with that conference championships in the NE8 as well. We'll go to the top of the list, and we'll start with the first game on the network. 6 o'clock in the EOAC, a conference game between Valley Christian and Lisbon. Rick Daly will be on the call in the Blue Devils house. 6:15, Badger goes to Heartland Christian, a non-conference game with Mark Franken and Gio Citriglia on the call there. Richie Giuliano will be back in Canfield as he has Alliance coming to town at 7 o'clock. Cardinals hosting the Aviators. Who can get more altitude? It's a pun. Camo Memorial, fresh off their back-to-back MVAC championship, will go to Struthers for a non-conference test at 7 o'clock. Bob Zanny and the students of the Wildcats continue to do a great job with their broadcast. I'll have that one covered for you at 7. Girard will be at Springfield tonight. Jamie Thompson on the call there. That's a big test for Girard coming off their 10-point loss to West Branch over the weekend in the non-conference slate. So Girard, I've talked about it when I talked about that score. Remember yesterday I said Girard is going to be okay. They have a great coach in Coach Hannon, great leaders with Thomas Cardero, Gus Johnson, Michael Palmer, etc. They just need to kind of a reset button. This night is a good night for Girard to hit the reset button, gain some momentum, and go into the tournament as a rejuvenated team. So that's what they're going to try to do. Springfield is obviously going to be standing in the way. They have great players as well. Shondell Gardner, Brandon Price, Dylan Shealy. So they're going to have a lot of good talent standing in their way, but the Indians are going to be trying to hit that reset button to bring some momentum into the tournament. We'll go into the next one at 7 o'clock. It's McDonald traveling to Lakeview. Our Lakeview's crew will have that one covered like they always do. They've been doing a great job all season. I've never seen a game at Lakeview this basketball season not be green on our slate. I mean, that's hard. Even some of our announcers that are dedicated to these schools have missed a game here or there because something gets in the way or life happens or whatever it may be. But we have never – I don't think we've missed a home Lakeview basketball game this season. If we have, I didn't notice it. McDonald travels to Lakeview tonight, though, on the boys' side. Non-conference matchup for the Bulldogs and Blue Devils. Should be a fun one in Cortland. Minerva will travel to Beaver Local. Chris Sigler was going to be on the call there. 7 o'clock start time in Beaver Local. I almost said East Liverpool. That would have been like a deadly sin. Although technically they are in the city of East Liverpool. Mogador will be at Wyndham tonight. The school broadcast team will have that one from the Bombers hangar. 7 o'clock start time there. Newton Falls travels to Niles. Ian O'Brien on the call for that one. Hoover goes to Boardman. Donnie Riccatelli is calling that game. Pymatuning Valley, fresh off their big win over Badger last night, will play their second game in 2 days as they play at Champion tonight in a senior night for the Flashes, where they honor their seniors, both the basketball players and the cheerleaders. 7 o'clock start time there. I will be in Warren for that one in the Purple Palace of Champion. Excited to call that game. South Range will be at Jefferson at 7 o'clock. We talked about that game at length. Sam Torres will be on the call there. Howland will host the Urban Scholars. 7 o'clock start time there. Why did I do that? Sometimes I amaze myself. Noah Ricks will be on the call in Howland. And then Warren JFK travels to Lowville. That should be a really fun one. 7 o'clock start time. Eric Hughes has to call. Western Reserve will also be at Salem tonight. And then United will be at Mineral Ridge. That clears up the whole slate. It's a busy night of the network. We only have one game that's not going to be covered. And that means there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 games. 16 on the network. 16 games on the network tonight as we move into the last week of the boys' regular season. This is the last Tuesday of the regular season, and then we'll clean it all up on Friday. The boys' tournament schedule will start next Tuesday, and most of the girls' tournament games are going to be starting Wednesday. There have been a couple. The D1 starting on Saturday, but everyone except D1 will start tomorrow. D2 through D4 girls' tournament action on the network tomorrow. I want to hit a reminder while I'm talking about it. The tournament games, both girls and boys that are going to be on the network, are pay-per-view. Same thing as same thing as football. Because of the fees that the OHSA puts on us to stream these games, we have to put up the pay-per-view wall. $9.99 will get you access to every game on the network that night. So if you pay one payment of $9.99, you get access to all the games that will be online. We will preview those games tomorrow, but just to give you the sense of what kind of value you're getting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There are going to be 16 tournament games on the network tonight. You get all of them for one payment of $9.99 tomorrow night. Did I say tonight? Tomorrow night, Wednesday night. So 16, all of them. You get access to all of them for one payment of $9.99. We'll go over the games tomorrow. Also look forward to today. There will be a tournament preview up either sometime today or tomorrow before the games start for the girls basketball tournament preview divisions 1 through 4. Our content team has been working really hard as a unit to get that together. It's going to be an in-depth look on all the brackets. We'll have a boys one too come out next week before the boys tournament starts on Tuesday, but we'll have a girls one come out either later today or tomorrow afternoon before the games start. But like I said, our content team has worked really hard at putting this together and gathering information, as much information as we can on these teams, and giving you an in-depth look on what's going to happen inside the girls basketball tournament. Boys will come out next week before their games start on Tuesday. So I'm excited to share that with you. But that'll do it for today's show. Today's Running Point is done. And we are going to preview tomorrow's. It was going to be Wrestling Wednesdays with Gary Altizer. I'm still working on nailing down a guest, but we have a special one that we're trying to nail down. So very excited about that. I can't promote it yet because it hasn't been confirmed, but we are, very close to nailing down a pretty cool guest to come on with Gary tomorrow from 1 to 2. Trying to get Scotty to be able to come on as well. Obviously, it's hard with us not being able to be in the studio, but we want Scotty back on Wednesdays. He's an absolutely amazing part of our Wednesday show. So we're going to try to get him back on tomorrow as well. But that'll do it for today's show. Catch all the games tonight on ysnlive.com/live for free. And we will see you tomorrow from 1 to 2 on Running Point. Brought to you